Hey guys, Jeff Sparks with Between Paint, and in our last tutorial we talked about perspective and how easy it is to get inside of the simple concepts that can really help your painting take off. And one of the things we're going to do today is go over that and enter part 2 of our conversation with perspective. I think you'll really enjoy it and learn a lot, so let's get started with our second tutorial. Now, I thought about this though, and I thought, well, someone's certainly going to say, Jeff, that's great for landscapes and buildings, but what about everything else? What about a still life? And that's a fair question. So I'm going to put up one of my heroes. Again, you'll often see me putting up paintings of my hero artists, and Emil Carlson is certainly one of them. And he's a tremendous artist. He paints all over the place, landscapes, figuratives, and certainly still lifes. He's famous for them. And here's one of his still lifes. So I'm going to ask you to do something. Pause this video and look for the horizon line. Now, he has it in here. The question is, where is it? And how do you come up finding it? So pause the video if you'd like. Try to discover the horizon line, and then I'll come back in a second here, and we'll talk about it. Okay, so a moment or two has passed on my end, and have you found it? Well, first you need to know that every single piece of art, any flat two-dimensional design that really reads well, that's really captivating, I guarantee has a perspective, has perspective in it. It has a horizon line, and every object in there is in obedience to that perspective at work. And we see it here as well. So look at this video. Would you have guessed that the horizon line is actually at the very top of the painting? Well, think about why that happens. When it happens that you're sitting at a canvas, and with Emil Carlson, he is putting his canvas equal to the image he's getting ready to paint. And so his eyesight is really looking at the top of the canvas, and he is looking down into or onto his table where he has these various elements. And if you look at that, you'll think, did he establish that? I mean, did he do the horizon line intentionally like that? Well, that's the thing. Once you do this a little bit, your horizon line can be anywhere, and you just simply paint in obedience to it. I can't say for sure, but I doubt Emil Carlson actually took time to graph out his horizon line at the very top of the painting. He understood that, and he understood that every element needed to be in obedience to that. But you might be asking how I came up with that horizon line. I mean, it is kind of tough. So I'm going to show you a little secret, and this will also talk a little bit about building ellipses in a painting, but we won't get off on a tangent on that. I have to assume that the vase in this painting is circular, and I'm pretty sure it is based on its base that is sitting there. I created the same ellipse by showing this vase in a 3D format. So let me move to the next frame. If I built a square around that vase and put it at the right angle, this is what you would see. And you can see now with that square box how I arrived at not only the horizon line, but the vanishing point. And so that's pretty cool. So let me show you what happens and how we do this. I'm going to flip through a few frames and sort of animate this. If I'm looking at the top of the vase right now, it's circular. On the other hand, as I tilt that box, that three-dimensional box with the circle away from me, see what happens. The circle turns into an ellipse as it departs from your vision because perspective is at work. Now, if you go back up to his painting here, look at how close this material is. I mean, he can reach out and touch any of these objects, and yet perspective is still mastering this entire show. Well, sorry about that. Don't you hate when that happens? Okay, so back through there. Now, what's really crazy is that when you establish perspective, you begin to see it absolutely everywhere. And so when I developed that box, like I did here, I used a program called Google SketchUp. It's a free download if you want to do it. You can build all sorts of wonderful things. We have everything in place that we've already mentioned. We have a horizon line, and from that horizon line, we discover where a vanishing point is. Now, I'm discovering the vanishing point by simply running straight lines back from the sides of the square back to the horizon line. Now, obviously, when we're painting, we're working in reverse. We establish a horizon line, and we start building forms with those lines out. Now, everything that is visible to your eyes has a perspective at work on it. And I just want to remind you by saying that if the landscape like this was extended and you had several circles, or let's pretend these are lakes, let's say, they're all the same size, but as they move back, they diminish. And also, look at this. If you can look here, they actually rise on the canvas. So that's pretty cool, and that's what's exactly going on here. And you can flip that around, put the horizon line at the bottom, and pretend those are clouds now. And that's how you're going to work with clouds. They're bigger up front, they're wider, they're more majestic, but as they go toward the horizon, every element, whether it's ground elements or whether it's sky elements or somewhere in between, they all are in obedience to perspective at work. And you already know how to do it now. Establish a horizon line and get that vanishing point in there, and then just watch it start happening. It's really easy to do, and if you find, as I find when people come up to me and ask if I'll critique a painting, what I'm often finding is that they think they have drawing issues, and they do often, but many times it's perspective issues. And by just simply establishing a horizon line, and most of them have never done that. So I'll critique the painting and bring that up, and it seems like a hard, difficult thing to do, and yet it's pretty easy. So that's it. I mean, there's nothing more to say about perspective in a basic tutorial for painters. So I hope you've enjoyed this video here. I hope that perspective is a little less daunting and you can apply it instantly today at whatever you're working on. Just test it. Make sure that you have a perspective line and you have these vanishing points in there, and every element of your painting works in obedience to it. One last thing, don't put your horizon line anywhere near the center, and you'll really have a great painting start shaping up. So hey, look, I don't have a tip jar. If you feel this video has been helpful, then feel free to grab the link to it and share it with other artists. Put it on your Facebook page or tweet the link. So that really helps me out, and it helps me keep putting these forward. So until next time, this is Jeff Sparks at Between Paint.